You don't need a new year. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need anyone's permission. All you need is a decision, a commitment, a mindset so strong that every second of this week becomes a step toward a version of you that even you didn't think was possible. Think about this. How many times have you told yourselves, I'll start tomorrow? How many Mondays have come and gone? How many dreams have you delayed because you were waiting for the right time? Well, let me tell you, there is no perfect time. There is only now. There is only this moment. And if you give it everything you've got for just 1 week, you will be amazed at how fast your life starts to shift. This week, you wake up early. You move with purpose. You show up for yourself even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. You do what needs to be done, not because it's easy, but because you said you would. You stop negotiating with your inner laziness. You stop waiting for motivation and start using discipline. You stop making excuses and start making progress. In 1 week, you can train your mind to believe that you're capable of more. In 1 week, you can build momentum so powerful it makes giving up no longer an option. In 1 week, you can adopt habits that push you closer to your goals and destroy the ones that pull you away. Start with your morning. Wake up and own it. Don't reach for your phone. Reach for your purpose. Drink water. Move your body. Feed your mind. Get uncomfortable. Take cold showers. Go on that run. Lift that weight. Read that book. If you want to become unrecognizable, you have to do the things you've never done. Look at the areas of your life that need change: your health, your mindset, your relationships, your work ethic. Attack them one by one. Be ruthless. Be relentless. Do not negotiate with weakness. This is war. A war against the lazy version of you, and every time you show up, every time you push through, every time you don't quit, you win another battle. You see, most people won't do this. Most people won't wake up early. They won't say no to distractions. They won't prioritize their future over their comfort. But you're not most people. You want more. You're hungry. You're ready. And in just 1 week, that hunger will start to show in your posture, in your confidence, in the way you speak, the way you move, the way you show up for your life. The truth is, transformation doesn't take a lifetime. It takes focus, intensity, sacrifice, consistency. If you can give that to yourself for just 7 days, you'll ignite a fire inside you that refuses to die out. Because once you taste progress, real, undeniable progress, there's no going back. So this is the challenge. 1 week, 7 days. Burn the old version of you down to the ground. Build the new you from scratch. Be unrecognizable to who you were yesterday. Show the world and yourself what happens when you stop playing small and start playing full out. Every day, wake up and ask yourself, what would the best version of me do today? And then do it. Not when you feel like it, not when it's easy. Do it because that's who you are now. A fighter, a finisher, a leader, someone who's done making excuses and ready to make history. Become obsessed with the process, fall in love with discipline, and remember, transformation starts the moment you decide you're done settling. So I ask you, are you ready? Radical transformation doesn't begin with a new job, a new relationship, or a stroke of luck. It begins with one thing, one decision, a real, raw, unshakable decision to change. Not just to improve a little, not just to tweak the edges of your life, but to burn the old version of you to the ground and rebuild something stronger, smarter, more focused, and more aligned with who you know deep down you're capable of being. And that decision It doesn't come from motivation, doesn't arrive on a perfect morning wrapped in clarity and comfort. It comes in the quiet, in the discomfort, in the moment you're fed up with the way things have been and you decide, I can't keep living like this. That is the birthplace of transformation. Most people wait for a sign. They wait for a new year, a Monday, a spark of motivation. But what they don't realize is that the most powerful shifts in life happen when you stop waiting and start deciding. Because when you truly decide, when you cross the line in your mind and say, that's it, no more, something changes at the deepest level. Your actions begin to follow your beliefs. You stop dabbling, you stop making excuses, you stop playing small, and you start showing up in a way that commands results. That decision doesn't mean everything will change overnight, but it means you will. You won't be the same person anymore. Because someone who has truly decided to transform does not fall back into old patterns with the same ease. They start walking away from distractions, from toxic habits, from lazy thinking. They begin to notice the gap between where they are and where they want to be, and they start bridging it every single day. No matter how uncomfortable it is, when the decision is real, you don't give yourself an out. You don't give in to the old voice that says just one more time, or you can start tomorrow. You silence it with action. Every radical transformation story. Every incredible comeback, every person who went from lost to legendary, do you know where it started? With a moment where they said enough is enough, a moment of decision. They didn't have all the answers. They didn't know how it would all unfold, but they knew they were no longer going to be the person they had been. They chose to become someone else. That choice, more than any book, course, or mentor, is the spark that lights the fire of change. You don't need to know every step of the journey. You just need to commit to taking the first one with everything you've got. You don't need to be perfect, just relentless. You don't need permission from anyone else. You just need permission from yourself. You need to say, I'm done being average. I'm done settling. I'm done pretending that this is the best I can do, because the truth is you were built for more. But that more won't show up until you decide to chase it. Once that decision is made, your standards change, your energy changes, your habits, your focus, your goals. Everything starts to shift, and people around you will notice. They may not understand it at first. Some will try to pull you back into your old ways. But if your decision is true, nothing will stop you. Not doubt, not fear, not failure. Because the person who has decided to transform doesn't need everything to go right. They just need to keep going. So if you're tired of being stuck, if you're exhausted from living beneath your potential, don't wait another day. Don't wait for a sign. Become the sign. Make the decision. Because your transformation doesn't start someday. It starts the second you decide it does. Discipline will take you places that motivation never could. Motivation is temporary. It comes and goes like the wind, unpredictable and unreliable. One day you're fired up, ready to conquer the world, and the next you're dragging yourself through the day, making excuses. Losing momentum. That's the problem with relying on motivation. It's an emotion, and emotions are fleeting. But discipline is a decision. It's the inner agreement you make with yourself that says, no matter how I feel, I'm going to show up. That's the difference between those who reach their goals and those who don't. Not talent, not luck, not even passion, but discipline. When you build discipline, you free yourself from waiting on the perfect mood to take action. You learn to move even when it's uncomfortable. You push forward when it's boring. You keep going when the excitement wears off. Because discipline is not about hype, it's about habits. It's about creating a structure that keeps you aligned with your goals no matter what life throws your way. Motivation might get you started, but only discipline will carry you through the days when quitting seems easier than continuing. Think about the most successful people in any field. Athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, leaders. They don't succeed because they're always motivated. They succeed because they're consistent. They've trained themselves to take action regardless of their feelings. They've learned that progress doesn't care about your mood. The work doesn't get done because you feel like it. It gets done because you committed to doing it. Discipline is waking up early even when you're tired. It's choosing the gym over the couch. It's saying no to distractions, to temptations, to comfort. It's showing up for yourself over and over again until it becomes your identity. Because once you start identifying as someone who is disciplined, it becomes natural. You don't have to think about whether you'll do the work, you just do it. That's powerful, but here's the truth. Discipline isn't built overnight. It's forged through repetition, through resistance, through struggle. You have to train it like a muscle. Every time you follow through when it's hard, every time you resist the urge to quit, every time you take one more step when your mind tells you to stop, you get stronger. And little by little, your discipline starts to override your excuses. There will be days when your mind plays tricks on you. It will whisper, "You've done enough," or "Take a break, you deserve it." And maybe you do deserve rest sometimes, but not as an escape. Not when it's used as a shield from growth. Discipline teaches you to recognize the difference between rest and laziness, between recovery and procrastination. It gives you clarity when your emotions are foggy. It grounds you. The beautiful part about discipline is that once you embrace it, life becomes simpler. You don't have to battle with your choices every day. You don't have to debate with yourself about what to do. You already decided. You made the rules. And now you just follow them. That's freedom. Most people think discipline is restrictive, but it's the opposite. Discipline frees you from regret. It frees you from inconsistency. It frees you from the pain of knowing you could have done more but didn't. So stop waiting to feel motivated. Start showing up because you said you would. Build a system, a routine, a lifestyle that doesn't depend on how you feel. Let discipline be your backbone. Let it guide you through the dark days, the tired days, the days when everything feels heavy. Because when motivation fades, and it always will, discipline is what will keep you moving forward, and that is where true transformation begins. It's easy to believe that massive change comes from massive action, that you need to do something huge or dramatic to turn your life around. But the truth is, real transformation comes from small, consistent habits. It's not about overhauling your entire life overnight. It's about the tiny choices you make every single day. Those choices might seem insignificant in the moment, but over time, they compound into something powerful. One small habit practiced consistently can create a shift so big it becomes the foundation for everything else. Think about it like this. When you plant a seed, you don't see results the next day. You water it, give it sunlight, protect it from harm. For days or even weeks, nothing appears to be happening, but underground, something is shifting. Roots are forming. The seed is preparing to break through. That's exactly how small habits work. They may not give you instant results, but they build momentum behind the scene. Eventually, that momentum becomes visible. And when it does, everything starts to change. Waking up just 30 minutes earlier might not seem like a big deal. But what if those 30 minutes are you used to exercise, meditate, journal, or plan your day? Over time, that extra space in the morning becomes a superpower. Drinking more water, cutting out one sugary drink, walking for 10 minutes after meals, reading 10 pages a day. None of these actions are groundbreaking on their own, but done consistently, they rewire your brain, shape your routine, and raise your standards. The secret is consistency. Anyone can be disciplined for a day or two. But the people who see results are the ones who turn small habits into non-negotiables. They don't do it when they feel like it. They do it because it's who they are now. Small habits give you structure, and that structure gives you confidence. Every time you complete a habit, no matter how small, you reinforce the belief that you are someone who follows through, and that belief is the foundation of success. It's important to realize that small habits aren't just about physical results. They affect your mindset, your energy, and your sense of control. When you make your bed in the morning, it's not just about the bed. It's about starting your day with intention. When you take the stairs instead of the elevator, you're telling yourself that your health matters. When you write down your goals every night, you're aligning your thoughts with your actions. Each habit becomes a message to your brain. I care about my future. The beauty of small habits is that they're manageable. You don't have to wait until you're ready for a big change. You don't need more time, more money, or more motivation. You can start with what you have where you are. One change, one new action, one better choice. And once that habit becomes part of your routine, it creates space for another. You stack them, one on top of the other, until your entire lifestyle shifts without it feeling overwhelming. It's a chain reaction. A 5-minute habit turns into 10. 10 turns into a new mindset. That mindset leads to bigger decisions, more self-respect, more action. And before you know it, you look around and realize you're not the same person anymore. You're sharper, stronger, more focused. You're doing things you once thought were impossible, not because you made one giant leap, but because you chose to take small steps every single day. So don't underestimate the power of small habits. Don't think they're too simple or too slow. They are the building blocks of greatness. One choice at a time, one action at a time. That's how big shifts begin. That's how lives are changed. Keep it simple, keep it consistent, and let the results speak for themselves. Change isn't gentle. It doesn't ask permission. It doesn't come with comfort or ease. If you want to transform your life, you have to be ruthless with your old self, the version of you that procrastinates, makes excuses, wastes time, breaks promises to yourself. That version has to go. You can't carry your old mindset into a new future. You can't become your best self while clinging to the habits, thoughts, and patterns that kept you average. Real growth requires sacrifice. You have to let go of the parts of you that are no longer serving your highest potential. And that means being brutally honest about what needs to change. The old you is comfortable. The old you loves shortcuts, avoids discomfort, and is addicted to temporary pleasure. But that comfort is costing you your dreams. You can't keep giving the old you the wheel and expect to arrive at a different destination. If you want to rise, you have to separate yourself from your own limitations. That means calling yourself out. No more sugarcoating. No more pretending that scrolling for hours or skipping workouts or staying in toxic environments is okay. It's not okay. It's the reason you feel stuck. It's the reason you wake up with regret and go to bed with guilt. You have to kill your excuses. You have to be willing to burn the bridge back to who you used to be. Because that version of you is not strong enough to hold the weight of the life you want. It's not personal, it's necessary. Growth demands that you outgrow your old identity. It demands that you let go of familiar patterns, even when it's painful. And yes, it will be painful. Change always is. But the pain of staying the same will always be greater than the pain of growth. Being ruthless doesn't mean being cruel. It means being clear. Clear about what you want, clear about what it takes, clear about the habits, beliefs, and behaviors that no longer align with the life you're building. You stop letting your emotions dictate your discipline. You stop giving power to laziness, to fear, to insecurity. Instead, you rise, you rebuild, you choose discipline over distraction, focus over comfort, truth over lies. This kind of self-confrontation is hard, because it exposes you. It shines a light on the parts of you you've been avoiding. But you can't change what you won't confront. And if you're serious about becoming unrecognizable in the best way possible, you have to be willing to face yourself without flinching. You have to dig deep and ask, where am I holding myself back? What patterns are keeping me small? What lies have I been telling myself? Once you identify those answers, you go to war with them. Every day you show up and chip away at the old you. Every day you make decisions that reflect your future, not your past. You stop negotiating with weakness. You stop compromising your standards. And you do it again and again until the old version of you fades away, not because you hate that version, but because you outgrew it. The truth is, you can't be both the person who wants change and the person who avoids it. You can't evolve and stay the same. You have to pick one. And if you're ready to level up, that means saying goodbye to the old you with no apologies. That means holding yourself accountable even when no one's watching. It means raising your standards so high that anything less becomes unacceptable. So be ruthless, be relentless, be committed to cutting ties with the version of you that settles. Because on the other side of that sacrifice is power, it's clarity, it's momentum. And once you taste what it feels like to live aligned with your full potential, you'll never want to go back. One of the most powerful shifts you can make in your life is to start acting like the person you want to become, not the person you are right now. Too many people wait for success to show up before they change. They think once they're confident, they'll speak up. Once they're in shape, they'll feel disciplined. Once they're successful, they'll act like a leader. But it doesn't work that way. You don't wait until you arrive to step into your new identity. You step into your new identity to arrive. The person you want to be is already inside you, waiting for you to stop playing small and start living with intention. When you start acting like the version of yourself you're trying to become, everything changes. Your decisions change, your routines change, your mindset changes. You begin aligning your behavior with your future, not your past. You stop asking, what would I do? And start asking, what would the best version of me do right now? That one question can completely shift your direction, because the future version of you, the one who's confident, healthy, successful, disciplined, they already know what to do. You just have to listen and follow through. Acting like that person doesn't mean faking it. It means practicing it. It means becoming it. Every time you choose to wake up early, go to the gym, put your phone down, say no to distractions, you are casting a vote for the identity you're building. And the more votes you cast, the stronger that identity becomes. Eventually, it stops being an effort, it becomes natural. But you won't get there if you keep living like the old version of yourself. You won't evolve if you keep telling yourself, that's just the way I am. The truth is, the way you are right now is the result of the habits you've repeated, the thoughts you've entertained, the choices you've made. And just like you created this version of you, you can create a new one. You just have to be intentional. You have to think, walk, speak, and behave as if the transformation has already happened. If the person you want to become is disciplined, then you act with discipline, even when it's hard. If that person is focused, you eliminate distractions. If they are confident, you stop apologizing for who you are and start owning your presence. It's not always comfortable. In fact, at first, it will feel awkward. It will feel unnatural because it's unfamiliar. But that's exactly how change feels. Growth is not supposed to be comfortable. It's supposed to stretch you, challenge you, and demand more from you. That discomfort is a sign that you're breaking free from your old patterns and stepping into something greater. Acting like the person you want to become also means surrounding yourself with environments, people, and energy that match your future, not your past. You can't evolve if you keep hanging around people who reinforce your limitations. You can't rise if you keep going back to the same habits that brought you down. You have to protect your progress. You have to live as if your future depends on it, because it does. Every day is an opportunity to rehearse your future self. Every moment is a chance to choose power over fear, action over excuses, commitment over comfort. You don't need permission. You don't need permission. You just need to start showing up as the person you're becoming, not someday, but today. Because when you do that long enough, something incredible happens. People start to notice. Your results start to change. Your confidence starts to grow. And eventually you wake up one day and realize you've become the version of you once dreamed about. Not by chance, not by luck, but because you chose to live that way long before anyone else could see it. 1 week of pure, undistracted focus can completely change your life. It sounds simple, maybe even unrealistic, but the truth is, most people have never truly locked in for even 7 straight days. We live in a world full of noise, notifications, scrolling, constant input, and all of it pulls us away from ourselves. But imagine what would happen if, for just 1 week, you silenced the noise, cut out the distractions, and gave everything you had to your growth, your discipline, your goals. 7 days might not seem like much, but in 7 days of intense focus, you can create momentum that would take months to build under normal circumstances. Focused energy is powerful, and when you give it your all, the results can be life-altering. Most people underestimate what can happen in a short time because they've never seen what they're capable of when they're all in. They've never shut down the excuses, stayed off their phone, committed to a routine, and executed with intention from morning until night. But the moment you do that, just for 1 week, you unlock a new level of confidence. You prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. And that proof becomes the fuel to keep going long after the week is over. 1 week of focus is about more than just doing tasks. It's about shifting your mindset. You start waking up with purpose. You become intentional with your time, your energy, and your choices. Instead of reacting to the day, you command it. You plan your hours, protect your priorities, and eliminate anything that doesn't align with your vision. You stop waiting for the perfect conditions and start creating them. You stop negotiating with your old self and start honoring your future self. That's when the real change begins. In one focused week, you can build habits that stick. You can start waking up earlier, eating clean, moving your body, meditating, creating, learning, improving. The actions themselves might not be dramatic, but the internal shift is. You begin replacing old routines with empowering ones. You take control back. You prove to yourself that you're not the kind of person who starts and quits. You're the kind who commits and follows through. That identity shift is more powerful than any single result. It's not about perfection. It's about presence. You don't have to be flawless. You just have to be consistent. Stay locked in. Don't let your mind wander back to comfort. Don't let old patterns creep in. For 1 week, you hold the line. You do the hard things, even when you don't feel like it. You push through the resistance, and with every choice, you get stronger. You start thinking clearer, moving faster, and feeling more aligned. You become someone who doesn't just dream, but does. What you do in 1 week may not build the full life you want, but it will show you what's possible. And once you've tasted that kind of power, you won't want to go back. That's the point of the focus week. It's not just about the tasks, about the transformation, the mental switch that flips when you realize you are in control of your destiny, your habits, your energy. All it takes is one committed decision to see what you're really made of. So give yourself that gift. Block off the distractions. Set your priorities. Go all in. For 7 days, move like your future depends on it, because it does. 1 week of focus can rewrite your story. It can break you out of the cycle of excuses. It can build the confidence, clarity, and momentum you've been missing. And most importantly, it can remind you that everything you've been chasing starts with the power to lock in and show up fully. 7 days. That's all it takes to change everything.